Welcome to Forgotten Video Store, the internet's preeminent obscure movie rental-based podcast subcategory North Hollywood. I'm David Murto. I'm your host because I like this. Virus update. Last episode I said I had lost my voice due to a virus. It's kind of back, but not all the way. On this show, I like to talk about movies that aren't available to stream anywhere and movies that the listener has never seen. And my guest this time is CB Mullen.
Hello.
And we just met each other today. I was driving around Glendale and I saw this guy who looked interesting, rolled down my window and was like, "Hey man, you like movies?"
And I was like, well, yeah.
And so I was like, "Hop in, buddy." And we went to the Forgotten Video Store and picked out a movie and watched it together. And now we're friends. CB, what's your whole deal?
Well, essentially, I'm kind of between jobs right now.
I feel like a lot of the entertainment industry is there also.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on. I've been describing it as kind of like a schizophrenic year in terms of sometimes there's like a ton of work and I'm just really, really busy, and then there's like hardly any work at all, and then I get to do podcasts. So it's really just like the best of both worlds, no matter what's happening.
I'm glad you're looking on the bright side of things. So this is a movie podcast. What kind of movies are you into? What do you like to watch?
I like all sorts. I'm a big fan of, horror and sci-fi.
Sure. Yeah.
I like the big budget, cinematic universe movies just as much as the next person, but I'm also kind of a fan of like schlock.
I love schlock, man.
I just recently kind of bridged the gap. I saw a also very legitimately not easily found movie, the 1994 Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
and
dude.
That is
so far the best Fantastic Four.
So it's a low bar. So it is in that category. It is an amazing homage to the 2 year prior Batman Returns with a very wedged in Banguiny villain, and but then also a very okay, now this is happening regardless of what was happening in the previous scene, sort of kind of Power Rangers almost story development. And it was a very low quality pixelization version.
Yeah. It's never been officially released.
Yeah. Very, very 480i, multiple times transferred over by the time it got to my hard drive. But it was a blast. It was a hell of a time. And Doctor Doom is cool in any pixelization format.
There's no way you would have known this, but I worked on the 2015 version of Fantastic Four. That took over a year of my life, and
many others, and I think came through multiple different versions.
The director got fired partway through.
Yeah.
Fired. He was allowed to go to the office, but not into the editing room where they were cutting the movie.
Which sounds like a super fun work environment.
Oh, it was, yeah, because I had to work for both of them. I had to work for where the director was and where the editors who weren't allowed to talk to him were, and so I was right in the middle. Yeah. Today we went to the Forgotten Video Store in North Hollywood, California, and you picked out something called The Forbidden Download from 1999.
Yep.
It was directed by Ian Softly, who had directed Hackers a few years previously. That's another internet-based movie. Mm-hmm. And then he went on to direct K-Pax, which were Kevin Spacey was a weird alien creature or something. Mm-hmm. And The Skeleton Key, which was talk about schlocky horror movies.
Probably my favorite Kate Hudson horror movie that takes place in the Deep South, yeah.
So why did you pick The Forbidden Download?
I mean, I think so. Ian Softly, he's always kind of been this guy that makes these sort of mid-budget but ambitious and kind of star-studded movies that are really satisfying and kind of build this really specific world that whatever the story of the movie is can only take place in that world. And there's just a lot of love for Hackers and K-Pax and The Skeleton Key, but there just isn't any love for The Forbidden Download. I mean, maybe because it's kind of a found footage movie, maybe because it's such a unique concept. It really commits to the tedium that was 1999 internet. And, For a lot of people that's boring, but for me it was riveting, and I'm just like excited to really get into why I think like waiting for the pixels to download for so many minutes of the movie is actually like really exciting. Builds tension.
So yeah, let's get into the movie a little bit. The movie's in 3:4 aspect ratio.
Yeah, 4:3, 480i NTSC format. It's
it kind of hurts your eyes to look at it after a while.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's the neon, it's the fact that there's actually, I know that there was kind of an issue where people who played it would actually kind of get burn-in on their screens just because it has that border around it.
Yeah.
The entire time, the QuickTime movie sort of window around the entire movie.
And we should explain, like, what you're seeing right away is the computer desktop, and you quickly learn that this movie is the original Screen Life movie.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen numerous of these recently. Unfriended, do you see that one?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like technology really caught up with that subgenre way after 1999. Like, once we got into, like, 2008 to 2015.
Where you could have high-definition images and video
and
on
still be true to the form, yeah.
Right. But this... the Forbidden Download is perhaps too slavishly dedicated to being accurate to what was available on the internet in 1999. We're not even on the internet at the beginning of the movie. It's a character trying to log onto the internet, and they learn that their mother is using the telephone.
That's the thing that really kind of puts this in that kind of found footage horror subgenre, because this just has so many jump scares. It just winds you up with all the slow tension buildup.
Right. And do you remember you could kind of hear people on the phone through the computer because it was like hooked up to the same phone line and stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of creepy. And I hadn't thought about this in years, but you could hear like voices coming from your computer.
Yeah. So
that maybe that's the first scary part in the movie. But then you hear the phone hang up, and then he tries to log onto the internet, and the big jump scare, like you mentioned, is the freakish shrieking noise that our devices made when they were trying to connect to the internet, which kind of
right.
And this brought me right back to those days. I think we're about the same age. So were you like getting online in the late 90s?
Yeah, it was interesting. At that point, because you originally go on just as the main character does, kind of in search for porn, but you're also looking in like for like a chat box to talk to either strangers or friends in, and he just keeps on clicking over the chat and then trying to Google boobs. Although I don't think he used Google.
Well, he went to Ask Jeeves.
Correct. That's Ask Jeeves. Yeah. So he was actually putting it in the form of the question, which we know now is actually kind of complicating the search.
Right. Yeah. And he put in, "Can you show me boobs?"
Right.
It kind of does like one line of pixels at a time, and it takes forever. And you start to see a woman's face, her neck, her shoulders, and then it gets stuck. And you don't see anything from there. And that was one of the more tense scenes in the movie.
It was a really clever way to keep the PG-13 rating, though, I thought. The fact that it just like never quite got to the nipples, which was definitely what I remember most from cruising the internet.
Was nipples?
Well, I mean, more than the movie, I think I really like the soundtrack for the Forbidden Download. I mean, it just has so many bangers.
You see him click over to Napster, which was hot at the time. And Napster, I don't know if I have any younger listeners, but it was the legal music downloading site, but you also would play the music in the same program.
Yeah, exactly. It was like torrents before torrents. I don't even know if kids know about torrents anymore. We're so many steps generations away. So it's like streaming, but before that it was boxes of streams, and then before that it was just raw files. And when it was just raw files, that's Napster, and that was the era that this movie came out.
Right. So he gets to the AOL homepage, and it's like got like articles about like the upcoming Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, like stuff like this. And that's when he navigates away to Ask Jeeves.
I also love that there's a pop-up for new USB microphones, which kind of helps tell the story that he has a microphone attached to it. Because you never actually get like a wide C. But
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of just like little Easter eggs in the pop-ups
Right.
throughout the movie.
But you mentioned the soundtrack. As he's trying to download the picture of the woman's nipples, then he goes to Napster and he turns on, I believe it's called Summer Girls by LFO. Mm-hmm. That song is kind of like, rehearing it this time, it strikes me as the "We Didn't Start the Fire" of stupid shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
He mentions hip hop, Marmalade, Spick and Span, the great Larry Bird, Jersey 33, Buzz Like a Hornet, Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole lot of sonnets, Willie Whistle.
Yeah, and he really put
Macaulay
some stank on
Culkin.
sonnets, you know.
Yeah,
kinda
Schwarnitz.
Like, yeah. Kind of Boston.
Michael J. Fox was Alex P. Keaton. Right, and maybe in retrospect, that was the perfect song to set the stage for "We're in the 1990s," like as a time capsule type song.
We're in specifically the end of the school year, just getting into the summer, like May, just before that summer break, you know. And it really is kind of like established just by having that song play in the background.
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah. And Chinese food. Well, I really like Chinese food.
I do too. Dim sum.
So he's downloading the songs, and something that I feel like isn't really, again, known is that oftentimes when you downloaded something on Napster, you would find out after you downloaded it, it was a completely different file. And usually it was innocuous. It was like if you downloaded a Weird Al song, it actually was just a different parody song by a different artist or something.
Or sometimes you would get like a prank.
Like just a weird, like gross out video.
Right. Me so horny. Oh, yeah. I remember that would come up if you tried to download your favorite track. So this character tries to download the song "Smooth" by Santana featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, and that's the whole file name.
Yeah.
Smooth by
Santana featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, which I heard was an alternate title when they were filming the movie.
So yeah, I'm getting ready to hear this song. Man, it's a hot one, 7 inches from the midday sun kind of stuff.
And what a great music video, I just have to say. It was, you know, it's just like Rob Thomas tapping his toes in the streets, and it's a hot summer day. You know,
let's watch that next. So we're getting ready to hear this song, but then you quickly remember you can't just put on a song and hear it in 1999. You got to download it.
Yeah.
And that takes a long while. Sometimes you would leave it overnight to download. So he's downloading this song, and like the estimated time remaining is like 16 minutes. Yeah. And the movie does not jump ahead at any point.
No.
You sit through those 16
solid
minutes.
16 minutes of mostly white noise audio with just like little sort of it, which I feel like was referenced in the more recent horror movie Skinamarink, with just like long bouts of silence, and you really have to put yourself in.
You think maybe that was an influence?
I know it was.
Oh, cool.
In my bones.
So he's waiting for this Napster download, and he clicks away from his Napster screen to something called Space Cadet 3D Pinball. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this? It was kind of preloaded on most.
Yeah, it was similar to like say Minesweeper on a lot of earlier Solitaire. It was just kind of like a default game. You didn't have to download. It was just like it came with your operating system, and all that voice acting that's happening in that 16 minutes. I mean, those are some heavy hitter actors that he got. Yeah, so the kid talking to his mom, and then also you can hear that there's kind of a TV in the background. So the news anchor is actually played by John Goodman.
Oh, cool.
And he's kind of giving like little sort of like dates and information about what's happening in the world at large.
Getting ready for the Y2K fiasco that was going to happen at the end of the year. And a string of missing persons cases.
The string of missing persons, that's mostly delivered by John Goodman in a very low volume. Like you really have to like listen with headphones, ironically, to mostly catch it up, or you know, really good speakers in a nice home theater. But again, 1999, so they weren't really intending for you to have access to.
Yeah, was it supposed to be like a subliminal message to us? Maybe
that's my theory, and I feel like Ian Softly like attempted and then never reattempted any of his later works, the subliminalness of storytelling.
So this track of "Smooth" by Santana featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20 finally finishes downloading, and
we're solid 17 minutes into the movie at this point.
I'm ready to hear the track. The character in the movie's ready to hear the track. Clicks on it, and wouldn't you know, it's not that. It's a not even a song. It's kind of a weird voice.
Yeah, and it's tough to make out.
But the voice kind of goes,
Meet me at Usenet Forum Yellow number 5 causes penis shrinkage.
Which also great Frank Oz impression. I can't believe that Frank Oz ended up doing the villain of this movie, but
very cool.
It was a masterful performance. But yeah, so we get kind of our first hint at what is actually
There's a darker element,
and it involves penis shrinkage with yellow number 5.
Right, which is that true? I remember hearing that. Like people were saying Mountain Dew had it and it was going to shrink your penis, and anecdotally I can say yeah, it did.
Yeah. I tended to specifically avoid yellow Gatorade.
Okay,
I only drank
unfortunately,
red.
that's the best Gatorade.
Yeah, I was strictly a red or light blue Gatorade drinker.
And let me see what you're working with.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
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 it's fine.
I mean, I'd say above average.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
All right, put that away.
Yep.
So,
Wrap it around.
if you got a weird message from a mistakenly downloaded Napster file, would you go to the Usenet forum in question?
In 1999, having not seen any PSAs to tell me not to.
Internet safety wasn't really a concern.
So yeah, just like our main character, and with his mother's blessing.
Who was playing the mother? The voice sounded so familiar.
Oh, this is like a really fun Easter egg. So you know how it kind of sounds like Sarah Jessica Parker?
Oh, sure. From early Sex and the City days.
Yeah, but so she was really busy and she was signed on to do it, but because of the success of Sex and the City, she bailed out last second, but Matthew Broderick was available, and so it's actually Matthew Broderick doing an impression
Sarah Jessica Parker
of his wife, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you get the scene, I'm going to use the Usenet forum. And she's like, fine, whatever. And so the kid navigates over
Fine,
to
whatever. Life comes at you fast,
So he goes to the Usenet forum about yellow number 5 dye makes your penis shrink. Mm-hmm. And there's one other user.
It was Cockblaster73.
So he posts under Cockblaster73 and says, I got your message. And Cockblaster73 before long posts ASL question mark. And I'm thinking American Sign Language, because I haven't thought about this in years. You would ask ASL for someone's age, sex and location.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is like how they kind of get the exposition about our lead character in.
But not before spending 5 minutes of the main character making the same mistake as you and actually looking up ASL before giving up because it's taking too long to download. And then in the interim figuring out like, oh, wait, he means age, sex, location. And then we're back on track.
Right. So the kid's age, 13.
13 years old.
Sex, male. Location,
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Aren't there 2 Kansas Cities?
I know, that's the maddening thing is they never specify
say.
which Kansas
It's
City.
like The Simpsons, you never know what Springfield they're in.
Exactly. Well, so Cockblaster73 is like a really interesting villain, but he seems to be, at this point, very interested in our hero and figuring out how to get him to log into the Usenet forum. Then the details that really come forward is specifically what subcategory of the forums, like what chat room in the Usenet he picks, and that has to do with botany.
Botany, yeah.
Yeah, so when he goes into the botany section, and we're like, oh, what does botany have to do with yellow number 5? And then he sees the one that's all bold, yellow flowers, 7-3.
And he clicks, and it downloads, or it shows a picture of the flower in question, and it is kind of that shockingly sickly yellow that you'd see in like a Mountain Dew or something. But there's something kind of eerie about this flower, and it's
got kind of almost like a skeletal shape to the
right,
to the
almost like with the mouth open, almost like it's screaming in pain. And you're like, ooh, this is a freaky flower. And it has sort of information about growing them. And here's a list of the successful locations where they've grown the flower. And it's like Lincoln, Nebraska. It's like Beaverton, Oregon, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Doesn't seem to be any one region. You kind of don't see a pattern.
No. And he spends a good 10 minutes of the movie trying to find a pattern by opening up MapQuest.
Mm-hmm. Finally, he just is reading them aloud and is like, what do Lincoln, Nebraska, and Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Beaverton. It's actually Matthew Broderick's character who says, that's where all the missing kids were, you dumb shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, from the John Goodman thing, it's like, oh, these missing kids disappeared apparently where the yellow 7-3 flower is grown.
Mm-hmm. That's when I started to kind of like be like, wait a minute, Bruce Willis isn't talking to any of the adults except Haley Joel Osment. You know, I'm starting to like piece together the eventuality of like, okay, our main character is probably going to become one of these missing kids, and I'm just like watching it unfold, and that was very terrifying for me. You know,
you've grown to care for this kid, mostly based on his taste in music.
Yeah,
because he also played "Every Morning" by Sugar Ray. Remember that song? Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
Super nostalgic. I mean, you know, like all these songs are songs that I would listen to on my way to swim practice just before going to school. And
well, yeah, I'd listen on the bus on my way to like a cross-country meet. And then me and my friend would like try to hold the headphones next to each other and then like sing along. I'm sure it was super annoying for the other kids on the bus.
Oh, absolutely. And you didn't have AirPods. You actually had, it was a headphone, so you had to kind of like
with the fuzzy thing on the
and splay it out. And these you really had to commit to that bit.
Fun times. So this is a kid, and we're worried that this kid, is he going to become one of these missing kids that's somehow linked to this flower?
But fortunately, you know, he never gets out and leaves, you know, because he's hardlined to this computer. He's just kind of like
an
figuring
indoor
it
kid, yeah. So he goes back over
His
to
Dell.
Yeah, it was a Dell. What was Dell's thing?
Dude, you're getting a Dell. But I don't think that was until early 2000s. I feel like Dell before the Dell Dude was just like very IBM-y, you know.
It's like a business thing.
Yeah. Like,
businessy.
if you want to be a serious person with an office, buy a Dell.
Right. If you want to be a silly guy, buy a Gateway because they have a cow.
Exactly. Dell was very no nonsense, and then later reversed it after this movie with the dude Dell guy. Yeah.
So he clicks over to the Usenet.
Well, he does it for the second time because the first time he does it and the tension really builds, and then all of his programs crash because again, we're really really early in the internet age.
It wasn't clear to me if it was like if we were meant to think, this is a virus, or just he had too many things open.
And at that point, you know, I think what's nice is they do keep it somewhat ambiguous, but I'm pretty confident that it was just a regular crash, just because they were prone to crashes at that point.
Sure. So you have to sit through the computer restarting,
which is another 10 minutes of movie.
Right, and there was no music in that part. That's what really...
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people for the limited theatrical release did walk out at that point thinking that the movie was over.
Matthew Broderick's character vacuums in that scene.
After about 2 minutes of just black, just nothing, almost like an intermission. Then we hear kind of a boot up noise, and it's still black, but it changes to kind of like a gray black, like it's sending kind of data.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, and then we hear the vacuuming as the different programs come on.
It's very annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I think intentionally so. I think that's what they were trying to convey, was just how annoying connecting to the internet was at that point in time.
How did we put up with it for so long?
We didn't know anything else. We thought it was the best it could be.
It's like the parable of the shadows on the cave wall. If that's all you've ever known, that's what you think reality is.
That was high definition back then. That was the pinnacle of graphic achievement.
That was the Vegas sphere.
Correct.
With shadows on a cave wall. So he finally gets booted up again, and he goes like, I need to talk to Cock Blaster 7-3.
Right. And when he says this to himself, which is, you know, kind of the main way we get a lot of the exposition, is this kid just kind of like talks to himself as he's trying to figure out like all the various problems with his computer, and his frustration with the various pop-ups that come up and kind of slow down his computer, and his frustration with it never actually gets to the nipples when he's trying to look
Right,
at porn
yeah, yeah.
because he's, this kid is very much like one of the first ADD kids of modern cinema because he's constantly losing focus of the plot and then
Right.
kind of getting right back into it.
So the kid, and we didn't mention his handle is Big Dog,
Big Dog with a AW.
Big DAWG, and so he posts.
And he doesn't have to put any numbers. This is early enough that
He's the early adopter.
He grabbed
He is the
Big
big
Dog.
dog.
He's the number one Big Dog. Doesn't even have to put number one in front of it.
So he posts under Cock Blaster 73.
Yep.
Are you taking the kids? Because he's like onto him already.
Yeah.
He's like, let's
figured out,
put it all on Front Street.
Yeah, he's the hard-nosed detective of this story, even though he's a 13-year-old chubby kid. Yeah, and this is kind of like the really intense kind of like back and forth in the AIM chat window that gets opened up. And this
It's great
is
to hear those sound effects again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And the door opening when your friend is like.
yeah, exactly. There's so many great nostalgic effects and like the wash of
It's
nostalgia.
a sonic memory.
It's so wonderful, which is kind of is in contrast to what is kind of meant to be like the high tension stakes
Right, yeah.
of him interrogating Cockblaster. And
All to the sounds of Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so Cockblaster's like, I'm not kidnapping them. They're joining us.
And then we start to see the faces of the kids kind of come through pixelization, and that's when we really
Creepy.
start to get into the supernatural phase of it. Similar to like Jeepers Creepers, which didn't really expose its supernatural element until halfway through the movie. This kind of is that like mic drop moment of like, oh, we're not just dealing with real world tech, even though they've committed to that bit for a good 40 minutes at this point. This is supernatural. There's ghosts, motherfucker.
Literal ghosts in the machine.
Literal ghosts in the machine, and that's one of my favorite lines from Matthew Broderick as Sarah Jessica Parker as the mom, which is, "Are there ghosts, motherfucker?" But this is when the story kind of like really like kicks off, and then we can sort of have a little bit more exposition. So kind of spoiler or anything, but essentially the really convoluted plot is like kind of a mishmash of Freddy Krueger.
Sure,
He
yeah.
just kind of wants to mess with kids and just like it delights in that and sort of lives in this sort of digital world post death, but instead of it being revenge for being killed by the parents, he just consumed a copious amount of yellow Gatorade.
Yeah.
And consumed a lot of yellow number 5. And yellow number 5 in this world kind of has some sort of like supernatural, almost like kryptonite type property.
Right, yeah.
And
So
consumed him.
his penis had shrunk so much that he wanted to wreak revenge on the penises of others. So he is cultivating children, specifically young boys, to kind of steal their, what modern day we might call small penis energy.
Yeah.
And grow it into a flower that spreads a kind of a toxin.
Yeah.
A penis shrinking toxin.
The subtext of this movie is like, if a predator is so phallic that it becomes yonic and births these ghost children through yellow number 5 and technology, what kind of world are we even in? So we learn and start to understand that all our hero needs to do is stop consuming yellow number 5, and he will no longer be on this path to be absorbed into the machine.
But CB,
Yes, Dave.
to cease consuming yellow number 5, easier said than done.
Oh yeah, well our hero outright refuses, and that's kind of like the really creepy thing that happens is we just keep hearing him crunch and munch on yellow number 5 lace Cheetos right until
Slurping down Mountain Dew by the 2-liter.
Obviously, the reason that this rarely makes any found footage top 10 lists or anything is kind of because it cheats for its final act for the big confrontation, because Lawnmower Man style, our hero does get sort of absorbed, or Tron style, kind of absorbed into the digital world. And then we kind of get into this really hokey, just fisticuffs between a yellow phallic 3D monster and a green screened chubby boy played by Kieran Culkin, who was
Now an Oscar winner.
Now an Oscar winner, and he didn't put on weight for the role. He did wear a fat suit. And it's a little offensive in retrospect, but I can forgive him. It was the 90s after all.
The villain, who's
Ted Levine, who really fought taking this role because he really didn't want to be playing any more sort of like
penis into vagina
penis killer. You know, he just like he was kind of famously he refuses to talk about this role because he was kind of like talked into it to buy some sort of like summer home.
But he's not doing his normal voice. He's doing like the freaky, like
really high pitched.
I forgot.
Well, that's the confusing thing is he does that really low pitched thing, and that's Frank Oz,
right?
But that, as it turns out, like similar to Scream with the voice changer,
right? Yeah, that was
he
is fact that he put on.
he's not the effective voice, but once he's inside, we see his real voice, and his real form, and it's Ted Levine. It's Ted Levine, also in a fat suit. But that didn't make it to the final screening. I think he just did that in solidarity for Kieran Culkin when they were doing the blue screen stuff. We go in and we're finally kind of like seeing like a little bit more camera coverage, and we're starting to like see like, okay, the digital version of our heroes, this like fat suit chubby kid,
and you kind of have the faces of all the kids that have disappeared,
right,
like,
they're
in the wall,
floating around,
and freaky,
very very freaky, kind of very very like anime inspired, because they're just kind of like floating and abstract behind him in this kind of like white void, so it's a kid. He has only a handful of references, and he sees this big yellow thing, so he just grabs for the first thing he sees, which is of course a barrel, and he just starts lobbing barrels.
And then Ted Levine's character kind of takes on the role of Jumpman and is jumping over the barrels.
And kind of a weird villain hero swap. The signals get a little crossed. I don't feel like they did enough research on like video game culture for this. But again, this is the late 90s, and they just don't have the connections that we do. Well, so he keeps lobbing the barrels at him, and it doesn't quite work. But then, we have all these kids floating in the background, and they point to the Achilles heel, which is the belt buckle.
Right. Kieran Culkin's character, chubby Kieran Culkin, throws one last barrel, doesn't quite hit him, but catches Ted Levine's character by the foot. Topples over, does like a full almost 360, lands on his back.
Yeah, like kind of a little somersault, awkward tumble.
Yeah, and Kieran Culkin's character goes up and pokes him in the belt buckle, and it was one of those, like, it was popular at the time. It was like, it looks like a seatbelt, pokes him in the belt buckle, pants come open, and his tiny dick is there. And,
it just flops out.
Right. Well, it kind of just pokes out a little bit.
Flop is a little bit
a grandiose term for what was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
This is such a disgraceful moment for Cockblaster 7-3. All the kids start giggling at him, and his power kind of shrinks. You see like the life kind of go out of him.
And so much of this was like really heavily CGI, but I really like how they like minimized it for Ted Levine to be blushing while he's covering his junk. I feel like that's like almost as iconic as the other scene where he's covering his junk.
Right. Then weirdly, we see like the screen again, and Kieran Culkin like climb. It's almost like a proto The Ring. This would have been shortly after the Japanese version of The Ring, so it might have been inspired by that. But he's like,
it was definitely inspired by the Japanese version of The Ring. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like almost a shot for shot at that moment.
Yeah. So chubby Kieran Culkin, and of course his big belly gets stuck in the monitor, but the other kids finally push him out, and then kid after kid starts escaping, like the kids who had become like the flowers or something.
And they rip their petals off and become real children as they walk further and further away.
Matthew Broderick as Sarah Jessica Parker's character is kind of like, what the shit is this? Who are all these fucking kids?
And with the elbow in the air, kind of just like swinging, and to like with the rolling pin in the other hand. I mean, it's kind of an offensive, sort of caricature of a mother, but it gets the point across. You can tell.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird that that's the only time we see him as that character, because otherwise it was just his voice. You just see him kind of pop right in front of the monitor and do that little shtick.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and goes to her favorite song on Windows Media Player, and it's
Believe by Cher.
Believe by Cher.
Yeah.
Do you believe in love and love?
And this is when I feel like, sort of the digital voice of Cher and the digital, craziness that's happening all
it was
around.
a perfect song selection.
It almost becomes like a music video. Mm-hmm. But with Matthew Broderick as Sarah Jessica Parker, as the mother, as Cher.
And he kind of uses the rolling pin as a microphone. It reminded me of that scene in Ferris Bueller where he's lip syncing to the Beatles version of Twist and Shout. So a really celebratory moment, kind of at odds with the rest of the movie, which was very slow and minimalist.
And it's interesting because, obviously the mother's almost like kind of this antagonistic force throughout, but the mother is also the character that kind of gets this sort of like redemptive moment. I think because Matthew Broderick was kind of like the biggest star
Right, definitely.
at the time, off the heels of Godzilla the previous year.
Right, huge hit,
Yeah.
beloved by everyone. Really.
You can't go wrong with Matthew Broderick.
I don't know, this movie was inexcusably long and just insanely boring.
Yeah. About, again, 2 hours and 15-minute runtime, and only about 15 minutes are not just a shot of a desktop with pop-ups.
Right. So, but an incredible achievement, and really set the stage for a lot of wonderful movies. There's this movie Host from a few years ago, not the Bong Joon-ho one, but they must have made it in no time flat because it came out in 2020 and it takes place on Zoom during the COVID pandemic.
Sure, yeah.
Have you seen this movie?
I have.
I thought it ruled.
Yeah, no, I like, and I'm a big fan of found footage, and I do think that there's like the kinetic energy of the camera movement that's like an important part of found footage. I'm talking like obviously Blair Witch, which came out around the same time. I'm a huge fan of The Last Exorcism and Mungo Lake.
That was scary.
Cool.
Have you seen Ganjiam Haunted Asylum?
No,
Korean
I haven't.
movie?
I've seen trailers for it, but I haven't been able to snag myself.
It was like really talked up to me like movie's gonna scare your pants off. I'm watching this movie. I'm like, I get it. I can handle this.
Yeah.
And like 30 minutes before the end, it gets so freaking scary.
Nice.
I'm like, I had so much trouble getting to sleep. I was like, I think I need the lights on. I hadn't felt that way like since I was a kid, Oh, how about Hell House?
Hell House. I mean, the Hell House trilogy. What I really like too is specifically with Hell House LLC and the trilogy is like there is this sort of like world building that you do that. You don't necessarily have it all in exposition. You have it in just like imagery and, paying off red herrings and like having certain bows not tied to have you like think about like, okay, what does that mean? Like, who was that really? Was that an occultist or was that a ghost? And Hell House LLC does that like beautifully. The third one, the budget kind of shrinks a little bit as the sequels go, so you can kind of like feel that, but it's still like really fun and like great performances by the cast, and that's what's really important about like what really sells found footage or screen life movies is the actors really have to kind of like carry it because the graphics are so intensive.
It's
the
a
cinematography is
specific
so
kind of
limited.
acting too. It's you can't be overblown. You can't be a big character, unless you can be Kieran Culkin as a big dog.
I mean, I think that's because the Forbidden Download was like a first. That's where they really learned that because like all the performances are really big, really over the top, almost cartoonish. And I feel like this movie kind of like taught later filmmakers like, oh, okay, we actually need the actors to be grounded in reality to really like sell this story.
Right. Especially if you're actually trying to fool people like Blair Witch kind of was.
Which is why, you're probably not going to have any of the actors in this movie talk much about it in press or interviews or anything like that. They might even deny that they were even in it.
I would never try to fool someone. I would never like say something is real when I'm making it up.
I feel like only garbage people do that.
Right. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for picking out the Forbidden Download. I had a lot of fun watching it. I said I didn't have a lot of fun watching it.
Well,
I both had a lot of fun and hated it.
Well, you had a lot of fun talking about it with me and sort of like going through the catharsis of the kind of actually like bleak, confusing, and difficult experience it is to watch this 2 hour and 15-minute double VHS tape set, because obviously 2 hour and 15 minutes.
I ain't gonna fit on
time.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap things up around here, I like to do something else. It's called plugs and rants. So anything you want to promote, I'll give you the opportunity, and anything you want to get off your chest, anything that's weighing on you, you can do that as well. I'll go first. I don't have any personal projects to promote, so I'm just gonna promote the Immigrant Defenders Law Firm. You can go to immdef.org, and they're working hard to help reunite families, people who've been taken from their homes, and just help out the most vulnerable people in our community. For my rant, I want to talk about fan theories, specifically like movie and TV fan theories.
Okay, yeah.
I read a quote once that said, conspiracy theories are attractive to stupid people because they're the only things that make them feel smart. And I think fan theories are exactly the same to me, but perhaps slightly less destructive to society.
Sure.
Now, there are some really dumbass fan theories that fall apart if you think about them for more than 5 seconds.
Right.
Like James Bond is a code name, or all the Pixar movies take place in the same universe, or Jar Jar Binks is the secret arch-villain in the Star Wars franchise.
Oh, I do like that one.
But what really, really bugs me is this trend that I've seen that is just applying the exact same fan theories to a bunch of different movies and TV shows.
Sure.
So every movie is either Fight Club or An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. So Fight Club, the twist being Brad Pitt was a manifestation of Edward Norton's personality.
Sure.
Owl Creek Bridge, famously the twist is this whole thing didn't happen. It was he was dying, and this is what he was imagining moments as he died.
The final synapses.
Right. So here are some shitty examples. Ferris Bueller is actually Fight Club, and Matthew Broderick's character is just a figment of Alan Ruck's imagination. Bullshit,
I've
lazy.
heard that one, yep.
In The Big Lebowski, Donnie is just a figment of Walter's imagination. Boring bullshit.
Yep.
The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Gleeson's character is dead, and Colin Farrell is just imagining him. And then some Owl Creek Bridge ones. The final episode of Breaking Bad is just a dream as Walter is dying. Sandy drowns at the beginning of Grease, and the whole movie is her dying fantasy. Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise dies in the initial crash, and the rest of the movie is his dying fantasy. Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey dies at the beginning, and the rest of the movie is his dying fantasy. Tenet, Denzel Washington's son dies at the beginning, and the rest of the movie is his dying fantasy. Get Out is just a fantasy in Lil Rel's head. The Harry Potter series is just a fantasy that Harry Potter uses to escape his horrible life with the Dursleys. Okay, if you come up with one of these fan theories, you're just copying every other fan theory. You're not being creative.
Oh, you forgot Back to the Future. He strums that guitar and blows out the speaker and bumps his head. And so everything after that is just
like
his
a
dream.
concussion dream.
Yeah.
Great. Movies don't have secret twists that they never reveal. Like, so they could have like subtext that's not immediately apparent, but it's like,
yeah, there's Body Snatchers, there's Sixth Sense, there exists twists for sure.
But the writer has taken care to make sure you understand the story. They're not hiding something.
Right.
I'm fine with people who like joke around about fan theories. I think it's super annoying, but like whatever, have fun. What really bugs me is people that think they're right and try to provide evidence to like show, oh, I know something you don't, like this kind of shit. You're fucking stupid,
right,
and you sound like a flat earther.
Yeah, but at least a flat earther is talking about the real world.
Good point. Do you have any plugs and rants?
I'm a member of IATSE, and I work in...
a union man.
I am a union man, and I have dedicated my life to making movies and television, and so a couple of the movies and TV that I've worked on in the past month have been the new season of Is It Cake, available on Netflix, which I encourage everybody to watch. Mikey Day is one of the funniest people alive, and you really don't know if it's cake until he cuts into that thing, and so it's really exciting television.
Yeah, that's a living nightmare.
On a smaller scale, I'm an improv actor. I'm in a group called Pucked Up the Punchline, and if you're in the LA area, I encourage you to go over to either the Pack or the Clubhouse on Vermont, or the Glendale Room in Glendale, all Los Angeles places that you can see my improv group perform. Look us up on Facebook or Instagram.
That's a great team name.
Oh, thank you.
Pucked Up the Funchline. Did I say it right?
Oh, yeah. Pucked Up the Funchline. And I don't know if you can tell, but we kind of switched some letters around.
What do you mean? I'll have to see it.
You're gonna have to come to a show, and then it'll really all come together for you. And we're actually led by one of my good friends, a guy named Rich Baker, and you can find him at Rich Baker Coaching on Instagram. And if you have any interest in dipping your toe into the improv world, he offers live classes in Los Angeles, but also Zoom classes throughout the week. For anybody in the world who is available at that time. And he honestly is just a really great guy, and is a really great ambassador for the entire genre of improv. And I can't recommend him enough if you want to be able to just rattle off a plot of a movie off the top of your head in a podcast or something like that.
When would that ever come up?
I don't know. It's I'm kind of like tired and just exhausted by actually watching that VHS with you just recently.
And it is getting late.
I'm getting pretty loopy. And then one last thing. To help you wind down after a long evening, my brother makes wine, tremolo wine. Go to tremolowine.com if
that's
you're
great.
interested.
Where's he do that? Where's his vineyard?
He is based up in Northern California in a town called Healdsburg.
Awesome.
And it's a great place to visit if you're trying to relax and unwind. So I think that's it for my plugs.
That's great. Those are
other than the feature film I'm in called Surprise, which is released by
Surprise!
Freestyle Digital. Surprise with an exclamation point, and it's available across all platforms, video on demand.
Just what's the genre?
Ensemble rom-com.
Great.
Yeah,
do you have a
fun.
love interest in it?
I do. I'm actually a little bit of an antagonistic force.
Okay.
The story is about a surprise party that's actually a surprise engagement party.
Oh,
and
cool.
everything that can go wrong does go wrong.
Oh, that sounds
including
good.
me showing up with my recent fiance to kind of steal thunder and be overly amorous with each other.
That's fun.
Yeah.
How'd your fiance feel about that?
She actually played my fiance
She
in the
did?
movie.
Oh,
yeah.
that works out.
Yeah. So we didn't really have to stretch too much outside of the vows that we're gonna be giving to each other in a few months.
That's awesome. Okay, and do you have any rants you want to throw at me?
I mean, you softly and very well kind of put up, we are recording this at a time where the federal government is coming after very undeserving people because of a lot of fear rhetoric. And it's a very scary time. I would much rather be spending time doing silly stuff of no consequence. But while there is sort of authoritarian things happening from Washington, D.C., I just would like that to stop, and I just want to get back to us all treating each other with respect, regardless of what your feelings are or who you vote for.
Great, yeah, God willing.
If you have the time to go out and demonstrate, it's not as dangerous as the news media is saying it is.
Of course not.
And it's actually really fun and a great way to connect to people and humanize them, which I think a lot of people aren't doing.
So, CB, thanks so much. I'm glad we're friends now.
Yeah, thank you, David. If you don't mind loading me back into your car and just dumping me out where you picked me up, I do need to get back to just wandering the streets randomly.
That's your thing. Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Forgotten Video Store. I am Prince from Nigeria. Your help would be very appreciated. If you could be so kind and tell your friends and loved ones about this podcast, I would be able to unfreeze my account and repay your kindness. I will send 1 million USD to your account. I'll be back in a week with a highly regarded writer and actor to discuss a romantic film inspired by a famous English pop song. When you listen, you'll be saying, "My life is brilliant." 4 measures early. Intro and outro music is Funky Energy Loop by Kevin MacLeod, Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0. Okay, bye!